For all the talk of bands that had legendary 3-album runs, I don't think Lamb of God gets enough credit. You had As the Palaces Burn, Ashes of the Wake, and Sacrament all consecutively. I mean, that's one hell of a run. I'll never forget the first time I heard the band. I think it was on the Freddy vs. Jason soundtrack. Then you've got Ashes of the Wake. Then you've got Laid to Rest. I saw them on Slipknot's Subliminal Verses tour. Just really an amazing time in heavy music. And a big reason for their success was the foundation brought by drummer Chris Adler, a founding member of the band. Those drums really stood out in their music, and to this day, their albums are just timeless. And it came as a shock to all of the fans when it was revealed that Adler had been let go. Now, he said in subsequent interviews that he reportedly was let go by way of an email, and to make matters worse, his brother, to this day, is still in the band. So, unfortunately, in a new interview with Blabbermouth, he's opening up about the state of their relationship and how he feels about that departure from Lamb of God years later. It looks like the rift between Chris Adler and Lamb of God, and more specifically his brother Willie, is deeper than many fans might have realized. In a new interview with Blabbermouth, the former Lamb of God drummer has revealed that he and his brother are, in his words, estranged. For years, fans have pieced together the story of Chris's exit from the band he co-founded. We knew about the 2018 motorcycle accident that injured his shoulder, but Chris now says that was resolved relatively quickly. The bigger story, the one he's just now opening up about, involves a perfect storm of personal and professional crises that culminated in him being fired from the band he considered his identity. According to Chris, around the same time as the accident, he was dealing with his mother's terminal illness and going through a really terrible divorce. On top of all that, a nagging issue with his right foot that started back in 2003 was getting progressively worse. By 2016, it was affecting his playing. After a battery of tests, he was diagnosed with musician's dystonia, a neurological movement disorder that causes involuntary muscle contractions. Now, he described this condition as a death sentence for a drummer. In his own words, "The nerves that are telling my foot to do this are worn out. Eventually, it stops doing what you want it to do. If I were trying to depress my right foot, often it would lift or shoot to the side or shoot back. It kept getting worse and worse." Chris says he took the medical information to the band. He explained the situation and asked if they could work around the songs that triggered the dystonia. He told them, "This doesn't happen all the time. It happens on these particular songs. Can we work around it?" We have a pretty large body of work. According to Chris, nobody wanted to do that. There wasn't anything I could do about it. Now, he also suggests that tensions were already high within their, quote, dysfunctional family, especially after he took the gig with Megadeth and won a Grammy while with them. He said while no one explicitly told him not to do it, the vibe was that he was cheating on us. The final blow came in an email. Chris says his departure was as big of a shock to me as it was to the fans. He describes how he was let go, saying, quote, "It was one of those emails. Services no longer required. It took me a while to dig out of that." For fans who have followed the band for decades, the most painful part of this story is the fracture between the Adler brothers. When asked if he's still in touch with Willie, Chris was blunt. He said, "I would say we were estranged. Since that email that I got, where he was not even willing to talk to me about it, we haven't spoken." Now, this sheds a new, sadder light on comments Willie made back in 2020. At the time, he said, "I mean, he's my brother, so we have shit that nobody else has. Until the day we both die, we'll always have that bond. But at the same time, Lamb of God is bigger than any one dude. And to do what's best for Lamb of God and where we are now, I think we did what's best for Lamb of God." Now, Chris says he's had to work through resentment and is now in a good place, happy with his home life and his new band, Firstborn. But the idea of returning to Lamb of God seems off the table. Just last month, he was asked about it in an interview, and he compared it to going on a date with an ex-wife you still pine for. Now, despite the fact that Chris says he hasn't spoken to his brother since his departure from Lamb of God, he says that he still wishes him and his former bandmates all the best, and that he thinks about his brother all the time. He said, "I'm wishing them all the best, and I think about them all the time, but I would say we're estranged." Of course, Lamb of God have remained heavily active in the years since his departure, and Chris Adler has himself launched that new band, Firstborn, which you can check out. That's your latest update from Rockfeed. Shout out to the Feed fam. I've got your names up on the screen. You can join as a member for just $5 a month. Be sure to subscribe with notifications on for the latest news and updates.